things up against Chile. Arsenal had a lot of players that featured in their countries, and this is time to break them all down. Welcome back to All About Arsenal, and in today's video we are going to spend some time to discuss about the Arsenal players who left the team to play for their respective nations in different qualifiers for the World Cup and of course a couple of friendlies. As you're already aware, the 2026 World Cup is going to happen at the end of this season, and USA, Canada, and Mexico are the three nations that intend to host that tournament. What's quite interesting to know that Arsenal has a lot of players that are regulars in their countries, and this would be a good opportunity for these lads to feature for their nations. But for you to go to the World Cup, you need to qualify for the World Cup. So let's just quickly go through a couple of fixtures, see how Arsenal players played in their respective nations, and most importantly, verify if none of them had any injuries. So starting with the Three Lions, Arsenal had four players that were part of their contingent for this round of fixtures against Andorra and I think Serbia. Thomas Tuchel invited Miles Lewis-Kelly, Declan Rice, Iberichi Eze, and Noni Madueke for England's squad against Andorra. And guess what? All four of them featured in the game. Miles Lewis-Kelly was the starting left back. Iberichi Eze played behind Harry Kane, the captain of the national team. Madueke took Saka's place in the right wing, and Declan Rice played with Elliot Anderson as a six. I think Declan Rice was the left eight, while Anderson was the six. But I know they kind of switched a lot in the course of the game. England won 2-0. The first goal was from an own goal from Garcia, while the final goal, the goal that clinched the fixture actually, was scored by Declan Rice. It was a very beautiful cross from Reece James that slalomed his way to Declan Rice's head and he just netted the ball home. Rice is someone that has scored a lot of goals since transitioning from West Ham to Arsenal. He came in as a six initially, but it was Partey playing six for the club. He moved to the left eighth position, and he has been very outstanding. Declan Rice is someone that his distribution, his all-action play has been beneficial to both Arsenal and England. I'm very happy to see how he has been doing well so far in his time in the Premier League as a player for Arsenal and, of course, as a key player of the English national team. So, Miles Lewis-Kelly was someone that, also deserved where he is right now. From breaking out into the first team last season, he basically guaranteed himself in the squad with Ricardo Calafiori suffering a couple of injuries. Zinchenko also suffering a couple of injuries. Kieran Tierney also injured as well. So he kind of paved the way for him to, fast track his way to the first team. But when he started playing consistently for Arsenal, he never looked back. And because of the confidence we had in him, Arsenal signed a new contract with Lewis-Kelly and let Kieran Tierney go back to Celtic, as well as letting Zinchenko leave to Nottingham Forest in the very last day of the transfer window. So this has really shooting the kind of confidence that Arsenal has placed in Lewis-Kelly. Even though this season, in the first 3 games we've played, he has come on as a sub most of the time. The Calafiori playing very well this campaign. Lewis-Kelly has not started the game yet, but Arsenal is a team that usually plays as much as 50 to 60 games every season. So Lewis-Kelly will certainly get his chance to strut his stuff. Right now, he's someone that is doing very well. I really love, the commitment he has put in signing a new contract. And looking at the way the England setup is right now, I believe he will be on that plane to US, Canada, and Mexico. He had a very good game, played on 90 minutes for his country, and I expect him to do the same in the next game against Serbia. Noni Madueke, on the other hand, of course, played ahead of Bukayo Saka, who is currently injured. And he played 90 minutes as well for England. He cooked the left back of Andorra time without number, had a very great game. And I'm really happy to see how he has come to his own, especially at Arsenal, because when we heard initially that Arsenal was about to sign Madueke from Chelsea, there was some form of backlash that came with that. And to see him now play the way he has been doing confidently, I'm happy for him. I don't expect Saka to come back after international break. Maybe it's for the game against Nottingham. Madueke probably start that. Saka might probably be trying to gun for the game against Man City, but let's just see how that pans out. Madueke is someone that, is an interesting player, lots of carries, progressive plays, and is very direct. I love the way he's a maverick and offers us something very different. Iberechi Eze is someone that we can't wait to get a full glimpse of him in the Arsenal shirts. We just got a small peek of him when he came on as a sub for Gabriel Martinelli in the loss to Liverpool. But I'm very certain that when we come back to the team after the international break, he'll be one of those that will start the game against Nottingham Forest. He should play on the left side of Martinelli. I don't think Martinelli has done enough this season to justify his play, especially with a key signing like Eze joining the club. He played only 72 minutes before he was subbed for Morgan Gibbs-White. And of course, Declan Rice also played, I think, 75 minutes or thereabout before he was subbed for Morgan Rogers. So the Arsenal contingent did very well. Rice scored an amazing goal. It was a very good cross from Reece James, and he connected well with it with his head. Obviously, he's a tall lad, and you know how it is with him. So I'm happy to see that the four Arsenal players, regulars in their nation, and all of them played without any injuries, which is what we always hope for. And for Calafiori, he was part of the Italian squad that decimated Cyprus with 5-0. Moise Kean, Matteo Retegui scored a brace, Raspadori and Alessandro Bastoni scored all the goals that put Cyprus to the sword. And Calafiori was a key figure in this team. He played 90 minutes for Italy, playing as the left-sided centre-back alongside Bastoni. And, he came on stage because the last time he featured for Italy, I remember that was sometime last season. He had that terrible injury where his knee kind of twisted in a funny way. But this time, Calafiori played very well. There were no challenges in terms of his health. He has actually started the season amazingly well. Arsenal's first game against Manchester United, he scored that good goal when Alta-Bayandere messed up Declan Rice corner. In the second game against Leeds, he had 2 assists. The first assist was, a funny one. He gave a simple pass to Gyökeres in the midfield, and the Swedish striker slalomed his way through the Leeds defense before blasting it to the bottom corner of Lucas Perry's goal. And of course, the second assist he had in that game was like doing the goalman scramble that allowed the Fiorentina just poke the ball into the net. And of course, when Arsenal played Liverpool in Anfield, Calafiori pocketed Mo Salah. Mo Salah had a very terrible game because of the presence of Calafiori, and I'm very happy to see how he has done this season. All we can just hope for at this point is for him to stay fit, because he's looking like he's going to be a very key player for us. In as much as also before that he's a good left back, he's also very adept playing centre back, and of course, should anything happen to Gabriel, even something we don't hope for, he can even feature in that position. So I'm happy that Calafiori played 90 minutes for Italy without any challenge in the game against Cyprus. As for our star striker, Victor Gyökeres, he was part of the Swedish team that played in a 2-2 draw with Slovenia. A certain Benjamin Šeško was on the other side of the divide, and in the game it ended 2-2. Anthony Elanga opened the scoring for Sweden, and of course Lovric equalized for Slovenia. Victor Gyökeres now had an assist for Ayari in the 73rd minute, and just when Sweden thought we were going to run away with the win, Vipotnik scored a very late goal for Slovenia to end the game in a 2-2 draw. Another noteworthy thing about that game was that Alexander Isak came on as a sub, for his very first minutes in football this season. You all know what happened with Isak and Newcastle over the summer. It was a very long, protracted saga. Eventually, he made his 130 million move to Liverpool, but obviously, he wasn't fit enough to start the game for Sweden, so he had to make do with some time on the bench while Gyökeres played alongside Elanga in centre forward. But eventually, Isak came in, had a couple of minutes. I'm sure he will want to start the next game for Sweden in his bid to become fit for Liverpool. But for Gyökeres, he's someone that, also needed minutes as well, because if you remember, he did not start preseason with Sporting CP. He went on strike when, he had been betrayed by the team, based on the alignment they had to sell him for a certain amount of money, and that didn't pan out. But eventually, Arsenal signed him, gave him a preseason debut against Tottenham as a sub. And of course, he started the two games against Villarreal and Athletic Club before starting the three Premier League games Arsenal has played so far. Gyökeres first game against Manchester United wasn't too impressive. He was subbed by Kai Havertz. And of course, when Arsenal played Leeds, Gyökeres was one of the stars of the show alongside Julian Timber when he scored a brace. The first one was a very good goal where he took the ball on his stride, took up a couple of markers and scored. While the second goal was a very decisive penalty that he took, making it very clear that he's going to be Arsenal's main penalty taker as the season progresses. I'm very happy for Gyökeres, and I know that this season he's going to score a lot of goals, but the jury is really out for him to see he delivers. As for Sweden, he didn't score in the game against Slovenia. He gave a simple assist. I'm sure he'll be trying to score as many for his nation as possible. But I'm just happy that he also didn't suffer any injury, because right now Kai Havertz is injured. He had a knee problem that had to make him go under the knife for a corrective procedure. And even Leandro Trossard is not fully fit as well. But so it just clearly means that Arsenal has only Gyökeres as the main centre forward, unless you want to try Martinelli in that position, which I don't think I'm open to at this point. I'm just happy that Gyökeres was able to play the games he did for Sweden this evening, or like yesterday, I guess, and managed to give an assist. Moving to Pierre Hincapié just joined the club in the final day of the transfer window, with Jacob Kiwior leaving for Porto. But Hincapié obviously is an ever-present player for his country, Ecuador. He plays alongside Pacho, the PSG defender, in the heart of their defense. Ecuador, are currently fifth in the standings for the CONMEBOL qualification, with the likes of Argentina, Uruguay, Brazil ahead of them. But in the South American division for qualification to the World Cup, it's usually the first 6 teams that go automatically, while the 7th team go for a playoff place. And right now, I think Ecuador and Paraguay, and I think Chile also have the same point, 25, 25, 26, thereabout. Hincapié did very well for them, played 90 minutes. He's someone that we can't wait to see in action. It's also worth noting that Hincapié can actually play as a left back, just in case Arsenal wants to fill in there instead of playing at the centre back. I would expect Gabriel to play a considerable amount of games. And with Saliba currently injured, it's going to be interesting to see who plays alongside Gabriel for a couple of games. I know Equipe says that he's out for probably 3 to 4 weeks. So that means that I think that will need to field a new partner for Gabriel. Christian Mosquera did very well when he came on as a sub against Liverpool at Anfield. I really love the performance that Mosquera put in that game. And to see him continue that strength, something I'll be looking forward to. Hincapié, on the other hand, is someone that can also play as a centre back, even on the right hand side. And even though I think I have that bias for the guy on the left playing on the left, the guy on the right playing on the right, I don't think it's going to be a bad idea for Hincapié to play in the centre back position. There are a couple of games to play. We have the Champions League against Athletic Club. We also have Port Vale in the Carabao Cup. So I'm very certain that our new number 5 is going to get some games for his club. But also good to see him playing for Ecuador without getting any injuries, which is very good for us. Right now we don't want any of our players to suffer injuries. We're currently out with so many players. Kai Havertz is injured, Ben White is injured, Christian Norgard is injured. Who else? I think Gabriel Jesus has been injured for quite some time as well. Ødegaard just came back from injury, and Bukayo Saka is also out. So, in as much as we have done very well to get a lot of depth into the squad, I don't think we need to have any other player that has an injury again. The two Gabriels were effective in the game against Chile. Gabriel Magalhaes played alongside Marquinhos in the heart of the Brazilian defense, while Gabriel Martinelli played 72 minutes from the left flank before he was substituted by Lucas Paqueta. Lucas Paqueta actually came on for Martinelli, and I think basically his first touch, he scored the second goal of the night for Brazil. The first goal was scored by Estevão Willian, that youngster that's currently at Chelsea. And just to give that boy a shout out, today we have been raving over what Max Daumann has been doing in the team for Arsenal. Estevao William has been doing exceptionally well for Chelsea as well. With Kupama suffering that injury in the game build up to the match against West Ham, Estevao had his debut for the club, his starting debut for the club, and he was very outstanding. He saw that has a very bright future ahead of him. As for Martinelli, he tried 72 minutes on the team for Brazil. I'm just really hoping that he can really improve because this season, and even toward the tail end of last season, his form actually dropped. The last time I saw a very, very top-notch Martinelli was in 2023, where he scored 15 goals. But since then, his form has basically nosedived. And right now, I don't think he's going to be a starter for us anymore. But with the way Arteta plans to, rotate the team a lot, give everyone a chance to try their stuff, I think Martinelli will see how he shouts. But right now, with the Brazil team, he did well, played 72 minutes while Gabriel played 90, and he destroyed Chile, 3 goals. With goals from Estevao William, Paqueta, and Bruno Guimaraes. As for Mosquera, he led the Spain under 21 squad for a simple win over Cyprus under 21s. There were goals from Obrador, Gaciorowski, and Garcia. Mosquera had a baptism of fire in his Arsenal debut. I'm sure he didn't expect to be featured in that game, but with an injury to Saliba in the 5th minute, he had already rolled his ankle in the warm-up and tried to see if he could play, but the pain was quite a lot, and I'm even certain that was a big error by Arsenal. The fact that he rolled his ankle, he was not meant to be on that pitch, but we tried to gamble with it. He hit the deck, and Mosquera came on to replace him. Mosquera had an amazing game against Liverpool. Unfortunately, Saliba is now out for 3 to 4 weeks, which will now allow Mosquera to play many more games for us, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him in action. He's an amazing footballer, very, very good progressive passer. He's also very tall, and of course, he's someone that can really help us in our set pieces as well. So good to see him, leading the line for Spain against Cyprus, and the son that has a very bright future with La Furia Roja. To Ødegaard, our captain, he played only 45 minutes for Norway in their friendly against Finland. This wasn't a game that he even needed to play, in all honesty. But I can also understand the fact that he needed minutes, being in mind that he suffered an injury and he needs to, become match fit ahead of the clash against Nottingham Forest when we come back from international football. Ødegaard is someone that Arsenal fans are really hopeful that can build up his fitness and build up his form because he hasn't been playing well in recent times. Although against Manchester United, he was one of our best players, pressing a lot, doing a whole lot of work and all that. But what he's renowned for, those attacking passes, those lovely, sweet passes that we usually see from him, we haven't been getting them in recent times. And I'm really hopeful that he has to bring that part of him back because we've been struggling. Right now, we have his ability years ago and he was on the level of creativity, but it would be nice to also have Ødegaard, to play well for the team as well. Leandro Trossard, obviously, is also struggling for fitness right now, but we managed to play 23 minutes for Belgium in their 6-0 demolition of Liechtenstein. Maxime de Coupier, Yuri Tillemans, Alex Thiete, Kevin De Bruyne, and Malik Fofana all scored in the game. And obviously, Trossard had a very nice outing, a couple of run-outs, dribbles, shots. What was important was for him to get minutes because we will need him. After we return from the international break, we have Nottingham Forest, we have a Champions League game, we have Manchester City, we have Port Vale, we have Newcastle. So you can see the games will keep coming thick and fast, and Arsenal will need every hands on deck to be part of this adventure. So it's good to see Trossard getting some minutes. It was unfortunate that he could not come on as a sub against Liverpool. And I'm hoping that this will not be an opportunity for him to get some more minutes ahead of the clash. As for Spain, Mikel Merino, David Raya, and Martin Zubimendi were called up, but David Raya was on the bench because typically Unai Simon is really the main goalkeeper for Spain. Mikel Merino, scored a very good goal. It was a corner kick that was crossed by Lamine Yamal, and he nodded the ball home. As for Zumendi, he actually gave the assist for the match opener for Mikel Oyarzabal. Then of course Cucurella scored one more goal to make it three. So what's important here is that Spain are currently the defending European champions, and all eyes are on them to see how they will perform in the World Cup. They had the World Cup. I think they lost to Morocco in the last World Cup on penalties. Yeah, that was when Enrique was still their manager before he moved to PSG. So it's interesting to see how Merino is going to play this season. He's someone that did so well for Arsenal last year when he came on as an emergency centre forward. This was a position that he had never played before, but he actually did very well for Arsenal I think from February to like almost May. Merino was someone that played very well for Arsenal. Although he was not a centre forward, but you can see that he gave his best. And this season, when we wanted to bring him on as a sub in some games, there's some games he played at the left edge, there's some games he played at the centre forward, and it's something that we'll continue to expect to see as the campaign progresses. Although there were some question marks about his performance against Liverpool and Anfield, I think that was an overkill. Having him, Merino, and him, Zubimendi and Rice in the same midfield, I think it was too much. But I still rate him. He sounds like going to give us a couple of more appearances as the season progresses, and I hope he continues to do well. Finally, we'll look at Maldini Kakuri, who finally made his debut for Albania in a 1-0 win over Gibraltar. It was a friendly match. Maldini Kakuri played his first game for Arsenal, I think, in the Carabao Cup win against Bolton, and I'm happy to see him play for his country. I think he's just 18 years of age. He has his best years ahead of him. And of course, with the stack of centre backs we have in the club, the quality, Gabriel, Saliba, Mosquera, Hincapié, it might take a while before he can, get the chance to play for Arsenal. I was thinking that he was going to be among the players that will be loaned out this season, but that didn't happen. So that's fair. I think he'll get his chance in the future. So touching on the upcoming fixtures for Arsenal players, Julian Timber. Oh yeah, Holland actually beat Poland. I think a couple of days back. It was a 1-1 draw. Jacob Kiwior, our former player, started for Poland as expected. But Timber was on the bench for that game. And I think it was Denzel Dumfries who scored the goal for Holland in the game. So Timber will probably start against Lithuania, I guess. But if he doesn't, well and good. White is currently injured. And if Timber doesn't play any game, I don't think I'm going to bat any eyelid about that. I'm going to be happy at least you get enough rest. For Belgium against Kazakhstan, that is expected to be under whitewash for the Red Devils. Trossard might start the game or come on as a sub, but he's not really a first teamer right now at Arsenal, so the more minutes he can get, the better. As for Turkey against Spain, that's going to be a very tough match. I don't think Raya might start, might still be Unai Simon, but I trust Merino and Zubimendi to be regulars for the team. On Monday, we have Kazakhstan under 21, Spain against England under 21s, and the sitting in Tawaneri will be on showcase in that game. And I'm sure he's going to do well for his country in the Euro qualifier. Calafiori is part of the Italy team that will be traveling to Debrecen to play against Israel. Obviously, because what's going on in Israel, they can't host games in their nation. But it's just good to see how things are panning out. So I would expect Calafiori to also start for Italy against Israel. He's a regular for his country, and I don't think he's going to miss out. For the game for Sweden playing against Kosovo, I expect Ødegaard to start as well, maybe alongside Isaac this time. And it's going to be an interesting attack. I believe that they would have enough in the tank to see on the threat of Kosovo. And Gyökeres is someone that would want to score a hatful of goals, which will bring him up to good form ahead of the game against Nottingham Forest. On Tuesday, we expect to see the likes of Mosquera playing for Spain in the under-21 game against Kosovo. Norway has a World Cup qualifier against Moldova, and I think Ødegaard is going to start that game. He is someone that is a regular for his country. He's also his country's captain. So I'd expect to see him play for Norway. I would also expect to see four Arsenal midfield players for England when they visit Serbia. They will basically Rice and Madueke to try the odds on to start, but it's going to be interesting to see what Thomas Tuchel does this time. Kakuri will also play for Albania against Latvia, and he has made his international debut for the side. I expect him to continue to play for them and be a regular as well. As for on Wednesday, which is the final day of the international break, Ecuador's Hincapie would host Argentina, and that would be a very good game. It will quite be early as usual because those South American games, based on the time zone, are quite early. It's like 12 a.m. for anyone that's playing and watching it. And I'll expect Gabriel, Magalhaes, and Martinelli to be part of the Brazilian team. I'll be traveling to Bolivia for the game against the South American outfit. These are two players that will quite come quite late, but they have good conditioning to see how they'll come back on time. So this is just a quick overview of the international games that Arsenal played, in the last couple of days. I'll wait for the next set of fixtures to be played, which is the games for tomorrow, the games for Monday and Tuesday. Then we'll have like a recap, just like this on Wednesday, where we'll just have a quick overview of how the lads played and what to expect from them going forward. So one key thing I'm really happy about is the fact that no player got injured, which is very important. And hopefully in the next set of fixtures, all Arsenal players will come back unscathed. But till then, come on, you Gunners.